Dear Scott, dear Jim, dear families, in the first place I want to thank both your families for this wonderful gift of a son, a brother, good friend to the Church of Jesus Christ. It really is one of the very greatest gifts you can give. Besides, of course, the gift of self. And as Scott and Jim were growing up, I'm sure they received much by way of good example from family members, and I am deeply grateful for all that you have done. I speak for all of my brother priests, our great people of the Diocese of Madison. Thank you so very much for such a precious gift. We'll never take it for granted, and I promise that we'll do everything to treat this precious gift that you have given us with love and care and respect, to be sure. Today is the great feast of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Tomorrow's the great feast, the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And so as we celebrate tonight, we do so with all of our heart. We try to celebrate with the heart of Christ himself. We ask him in that old but wonderful prayer, make our heart, Lord Jesus, like unto thine. That's what we're all about on the Feast of the Sacred Heart. That's what we're all about every day. Now, what does it mean to make our heart like unto the heart of the Lord, present in the Blessed Sacrament? What does that mean? Not surprisingly, it means at least three things. In the first place, a heart like unto the heart of Christ is a free heart. A free heart. Freedom is a popular word in our culture, but the meaning is so often lost in some or other way, if not just lost in the translation. Freedom is a wonderful gift. Your freedom as a priest of Jesus Christ in his person. Your freedom will reflect his celibacy, his chastity, his purity. You are free from entangling relationships with people that might hinder you from allowing Christ to say to you every day, as he does tonight, you belong completely to me. The laying on of hands, each of you in your own way, will hear Jesus say, you belong completely to me, in a way that you've never heard it before. And that's why the bishop, when he lays on hands, keeps his mouth shut, so that Jesus might say to you whatever it is that he has to say, and say it as clearly and as intimately as possible. You also have the freedom that comes from obedience. You're free from entangling attachments to other people, and you're free from entangling attachments to your own will and to your own agenda. Chastity, celibacy, and obedience are the key pathways for a priest to freedom. And just imagine how free a priest is called to be Because chastity and obedience are only the starting point. Only the starting point. Through chastity and obedience, your freedom is formed such that your conscience never for a minute dispenses you from what is basic in the Christian life. That's not what a conscience does. And you must repeatedly teach our people that truth with love. Conscience does not dispense people from the minimum requirements of being a son or a daughter of God. Conscience always calls one to something higher. Always calls one to something higher. And so the unselfishness and the self-forgetfulness with which you will live your lives as priests presumes that incredible freedom always to seek what is greater and never to be content with what is mediocre. That's the nature of your freedom. Cardinal George said to a group of us bishops one time when we asked him, "Why did you vote for Pope Francis?" He answered, "Because he is truly free." And I think we see that. The Spirit blows where it will. You hear the sound it makes. You do not know where it comes from or where it is going. The freedom of Pope Francis allows God to be the God of surprises, which he really wants to be. And God knows we've had enough hurtful surprises in the church in recent years. It's time for some good surprises. Surprises like some of the friends of Jim and Scott probably feel tonight when they say to themselves, "I never thought I'd see the day." Only some of the friends, though. I prayed hard and I lived in hope and in a strong awareness that I would see the day. The only question I had about whether I would see the day might have been whether I would see it, not whether it would come. So every day, in the person of Jesus Christ, to imitate the Sacred Heart of Jesus by building up your own heart with God's grace to be a free heart. The heart of a priest is also a just heart, a heart that knows and does justice. Now, it's very hard today to know what justice is, and I have to be honest about this. For one thing, in our country and in our society, a lot of people see that they like something and that they want something. And the next thing you know, they tell you they have a right to it because they like it and because they want it. They say I have a right to it. And so rights, in terms of which justice has meaning, rights turn out to be likes and wants of people, elevated by themselves to the level of rights on which no strong, respectable theory of justice can be based. Justice is based on the natural rights that we have from God, not on anyone's likes or wants. Human rights are for every human person. And all human persons have the same inalienable rights, regardless of their wants and needs. The theory of justice in our society doesn't operate that way. Sometimes people think they can understand what justice is from watching the Department of Justice. But as today, the Department of Justice is sometimes more interested in protecting the rights of terrorists than of protecting the rights of the little sisters of the poor. So that's not a good place to learn about justice either. Justice is something that people are very mixed up about, just as they are mixed up about freedom. And only through loving prayer every day, trying to make your heart with God's grace like unto the heart of the Lord, only then will you really learn justice. And you need to know all about conscience and freedom, and you need to know all about justice because of that so important work that you will do in spiritual direction and in hearing confessions in particular. Pope Francis keeps telling people, go to confession, go to confession, go to confession. Somehow, we don't find that out reading the New York Times. But he keeps it up, with the expectation that you great priests will be just that, in confession, great and holy, with a strong sensitivity toward people and their needs, and with an equally strong sense of conscience and of justice. The heart of Christ is a free heart. The heart of Christ is a just heart. Justice is our theme today in the first reading. And the first reading makes it very clear how justice is done. The good is rewarded, and the evil has to be redressed. Say yes if you mean yes, and no if you mean no. Anything else is from the evil one. The gospel reading talks a lot about love. The love of friendship. The love that Jesus Christ has for those men whom he blesses and commissions and consecrates to be in his person, which is going to happen right away. That love is a completely self-forgetful love. It is completely unique. It's the love that reaches its highest moment during the Eucharist when you say, in the person of Christ, this is my body to be broken for you. And you really mean that. In the person of Christ, you say, this is my body. You don't say, this is Christ's body. In the person of Christ, you say, this is my body, which is to be broken for you. This is my blood, which is to be poured out for you. The breaking of your body and the shedding of your blood every day is your living out of the cross, apart from which there can be no true priesthood. The cross of Christ is the burden of Christ. It is the yoke of Christ. And yet, because of the overwhelming power of his resurrection, Jesus is able to say, but my yoke, which is the cross, is easy, and my burden is light. Because nowhere else than in the cross and in the resurrection, can a priest find his joy? Priest can't say, oh, I am really looking for joy down watching the fireworks tomorrow night. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to get buzzed up, and the fireworks will look even better once I take my tonic to help me enjoy them. Priests can't do anything like that. Priests can't look for joy in the wrong places. And it's ironic what the right place is. The right place is the cross, because the resurrection confirms and guarantees the hope of the cross, the joy of the cross, and the power of the cross. And it's that cross which is the yoke and the burden for you. So please stay so close to the heart of Christ in prayer that you will begin every day with a smile and end every day with a smile, saying to yourself, yes, Lord, today I lived out the cross, but today, because my heart is becoming ever more like your heart, today my yoke was easy and my burden was light. May it always be so for you two great men whom we love so much. Praise be Jesus Christ.